Welcome to Tech Disruptions, deep dives into the technologies reshaping industries, from AI to quantum to biotech. Let's get into it.
Okay, so I thought I was getting a handle on the AI conversation, right? Been following it for years. But then you see a company, especially one as deliberate as 37 Signals, do a complete 180 on their stance, not just on using AI, but actively championing it. What changed so dramatically and so fast for them?
It's fascinating, right? For David Heinemeier Hansson, their CTO, the shift wasn't just incremental model improvements, though those are happening. He pinpoints the latter half of 2025 as the real turning point, specifically with the rise of what they call agent mode.
Agent mode. Sounds like something out of a spy movie. What's that actually mean for, say, a developer?
Exactly. It sounds buzzwordy, and DHH even admits that, but the practical difference is profound. Before, AI in development was largely about auto-completion, like a really smart but sometimes annoying co-pilot trying to finish your sentences in your text editor. DHH found that disruptive. He wanted to type his own thoughts.
Yeah, that's fair. I can relate. When I'm trying to write, I don't want someone constantly chiming in. Did you mean paradigm shift?
Right, but agent mode is different. It's the AI moving out of your editor and into the terminal, running almost independently. You give it a task, a plan, and it goes off, using your computer's tools, running bash commands, looking things up on the web, even running code to achieve that goal. It's not trying to complete your thought. It's executing its own plan you set for it.
So instead of being a backseat driver, it's like you've hired a junior developer who you give a task to and they go off and do it.
Precisely, and that changes everything. DHH describes it as going from a text input box where you'd ask for information or a second opinion to something that's actually doing tangible work, where the output is often 80% there, and you just need to tweak the last 20%. That's a massive leap in productivity.
That's a pretty compelling argument for any developer who's been skeptical. But it's one thing to say it's useful for a developer in their personal workflow. How is 37 Signals as an organization putting these agents to work? Are they finding practical enterprise-level applications?
Absolutely, and this is where it gets really interesting for businesses. They've identified what they call toil, tedious, repetitive, but important programming work that human developers often find draining. One significant area is reviewing security reports.
Security reports? Like from bug bounty programs?
Exactly. They use HackerOne, where external researchers submit findings. Now, the vast majority of these reports, according to DHH, are low quality, even bullshit. But you have to review them all, because that 1 in 10 that's genuinely catastrophic could save you millions. Reviewing these manually is incredibly time-consuming.
And probably soul-crushing, like sifting through a mountain of spam emails to find one legitimate one.
Pretty much. So Jeremy, one of their team members, pioneered a system using AI agents. They give the AI access to historical reports, data on the submitter's past quality, and let it pre-cook the review process. The AI sifts through the sludge, filters the noise from the signal, and then human developers can focus their time on the high-value, critical reports. It's essentially advanced spam detection for security vulnerabilities.
That's brilliant. It's not replacing the human, but augmenting them to do higher value work. Where else are they applying this toil reduction?
Another example is their bi-weekly console reviews. Their programmers sometimes need to access production systems and customer data for investigations. They have strict rules about what can be accessed and why, so they manually review all access logs to ensure compliance.
I imagine that's a lot of everything was fine, everything was within jurisdiction kind of paperwork.
Exactly. It's tedious, boring work, especially when you're repeatedly finding nothing. DHH points out that AI is perfectly patient to do the same work over and over again. They can train it to flag anything that's not quite right, freeing up human time.
And for those moments when things aren't fine or when a system goes down, can AI help there too?
Absolutely. They've had success assisting with on-call duties and performance issues. When there's a system degradation, they can give the AI access to logs, exception systems, and performance monitoring tools. The AI can pull all that data, run queries, and often come up with a diagnosis that's damn impressive, in DHH's words, and incredibly fast.
So these are all internal, behind-the-scenes applications. It sounds like they're building a highly efficient AI-augmented internal operational team. But what about for their actual products, like Basecamp or Hey? They've famously been cautious about jamming AI into everything. Has this internal success changed their product-facing strategy?
This is the crux of it. For a long time, their early explorations into product features using AI, things like enhanced search or auto-completion within the product, didn't feel like a slam dunk. They feared it would feel like AI slob, just adding a sticker without unequivocally making the product better.
And they're not interested in features for the sake of being AI-enabled. It has to be genuinely useful.
Precisely. But this new enthusiasm from internal applications is pushing them to find areas where they can deliver that unequivocal positive impact in their products. DHH alluded to really neat ideas specifically around Basecamp, though he wouldn't reveal spoilers. He had a peak experience with an agent recently that convinced him of its power for developers.
Tell me about that. What was the peak experience that really solidified his optimism?
He describes a moment where he encountered a really obscure bug in the latest version of Rails, causing a weird artifact when opening the console. He was dreading the deep dive, so he handed the task to Opus, Claude's latest model.
And what did Opus do?
Opus started pulling out a C-Dugger, a tool DHH knew existed but wouldn't typically reach for right away. It showed its thinking process, hypothesizing, trying things, and even when the first couple of hypotheses didn't pan out, it kept going. Eventually, it pinpointed the exact issue, found the commit where things went wrong, and even provided a patch to work around it until a core fix was available.
Wait, it debugged a complex framework bug and wrote a patch? That's wild.
DHH was blown away. He said he wouldn't have done that himself in that moment, or it would have taken hours. The AI got the problem out of his way. He even compares this level of excitement to playing Yi or Kung Fu on a Commodore 64 as a kid, or the first time he published a web page with Netscape Navigator and realized it was live for the entire world. That mind-blown experience of pure technological magic.
That's a powerful comparison, bringing it back to those fundamental moments of technological wonder. But you mentioned he also said it's not always like that.
Right. He admits he's had moments where he gets excited, asks for something seemingly simple, and the AI makes a mess of things. But the key is that the ratio is changing. More often now, it's either solving the problem entirely or providing such a solid draft or blueprint that he can quickly polish it off. He even used a tool called OpenCode to get 5 different drafts from 5 different models for a complex task, and all of them produced working solutions.
5 working solutions from an open-ended prompt. That's really impressive. It almost sounds like a non-programmer could start building things. Does this mean AI is democratizing access to software creation?
Absolutely. This is where Jason Fried, their CEO, comes in. He highlights that while DHH, as an expert programmer, could do these things given enough time, the AI is doing something fundamentally different for non-programmers. It's allowing them to build ideas and produce working applications without understanding a lick of what's going on underneath.
So the magic for the expert is speed and offloading toil. But for the non-expert, it's about enabling creation that was previously impossible for them.
Exactly. Jason draws parallels to Excel and FileMaker Pro. These were tools that gave non-programmers the power to create programs, monstrous spreadsheets or databases to solve business tasks, because they couldn't afford a professional programmer or didn't have the skills. AI is now doing that on a much grander scale, democratizing access to creativity.
But there's a caveat, right? These AI-generated programs might not be production-ready or secure.
A big caveat. Jason is clear that what these models produce today might not have the quality for critical systems like pacemakers or banks. He's seen horror examples of AI making things that appear to work but are leaking like a sieve or woefully insecure.
So for businesses, it's not a blank check to let AI build everything. There's still a need for human oversight and expertise.
Exactly. However, he argues that for many cases, it also just doesn't matter. Not everything has that level of criticality. For early-stage programs or things where the cost of catastrophic error isn't that great, the upside of getting any program that didn't exist yesterday is worth the risk. It's the innovator's dilemma. Everything starts as a toy and then grows into robustness.
That makes sense. So with this rapid evolution and seeing the internal benefits, how is 37 Signals approaching AI integration into their own products for customers? Are they still waiting or are they jumping in?
It's a nuanced strategy. They've explored it quite a bit in products like Fizzy, their Kanban tool. They tried summary features, for example, for weeks of work. But they found the summaries adequate but not interesting to read, which pushed them back. They don't want to ship something just because it can be done.
So they're not just slapping AI on everything.
No. And this is where Jason discusses David's argument, which he fundamentally agrees with. The landscape is changing so fast that users might just bring their own agents to the products.
Wait, so instead of 37 Signals building AI into Basecamp, users will have their own personal AIs that use Basecamp?
Precisely. Imagine your AI agent signing up for a Basecamp account like a normal user, learning everything about your projects, and then operating within it. They've already seen this internally, with their own agents operating within their Basecamp account. This means 37 Signals can focus on making their products simpler and clearer and making it easier for external agents to integrate, for example, through command line interfaces.
That's a bold take.
Most companies are rushing to build their own AI features. 37 Signals is saying, we'll open the doors, but you bring your own intelligence.
It's a wait-and-see strategy with an open door. Jason is glad they haven't spent thousands of engineering hours building things that might be undone in a matter of weeks by a better way to do things. He acknowledges there will be a hybrid world, some native AI features within their products, but also users bringing their sophisticated personal agents that connect to everything else they use.
That brings up an interesting point about customer expectations. I've seen the comments. People are really polarized. Some demand AI features, others say, don't touch my Basecamp with shitty AI. How do you balance that?
It's a delicate balance, as Jason puts it. Their approach has always been about straightforward, no-nonsense software. Slathering AI on everything isn't their style. For those who want it everywhere, he believes their personal agents will provide that. For those who don't want to go down that road or aren't sophisticated enough, 37 Signals needs to provide some assistance and leverage that's not in your way.
It's the classic more features versus simplicity debate, just with AI as the latest frontier.
Exactly. He compares it to adding more tools to a Basecamp project. You can have multiple to-do sections or message boards if you want, but it's still simple for everyone else who just wants the basics. The power is there if you reach for it, but it doesn't clutter the experience for those who don't.
That makes a lot of sense from a product philosophy perspective. But let's broaden this out a bit. We've heard a lot about tech layoffs, with AI often cited as the reason. The idea that AI will replace jobs, especially programmers. What's their take on that?
Jason Fried has a very clear and somewhat contrarian view. His long-standing opinion is that most companies tend to be too big in the first place, with too many people on teams. He thinks companies often look for reasons to let people go that may or may not be true. So AI becomes a convenient excuse. Potentially, he acknowledges that AI should make people more productive, but he also believes people should have probably been a lot more productive to begin with. He doesn't think you need a team of 12 people working on something relatively small. For 37 Signals, with about 60 people, AI is seen as a way to develop faster with fewer people, but not necessarily to eliminate roles in a company that's already intentionally lean.
That flips the script on the layoff narrative. It's not necessarily AI taking jobs, but perhaps companies realizing they were overstaffed and using AI as a justification for efficiency.
That's his take, and it extends to things like customer service. He agrees that AI-based customer service can be good for simple, straightforward questions, but he finds it incredibly frustrating when you have a nuanced issue and you're stuck in a loop with a bot.
Oh, I've been there. No, I'm the bot and I can help you. No, you're not helping me. It's infuriating.
Precisely. Jason's point is that humans want to talk to humans, especially when they're frustrated. For 37 Signals, human support is a massive competitive advantage. They have highly trained, long-term humans on their support team, some for 15 years, who know the product inside and out and genuinely care.
So for 37 Signals, AI is about augmentation and efficiency, not about replacing the human touch, especially in critical areas like customer relationships.
Absolutely. They offer some AI help for quick answers, but you can always email support@basecamp.com and get a human. He says they don't ever want customers to feel like they must go through AI and get pissed off to finally reach a human. It's about having both options, but prioritizing the human connection, especially when emotions are involved. People relate to each other. They need to vent sometimes. And that's something AI, however sophisticated, still struggles to truly replicate.
So if we look back at this whole shift, what are the core takeaways for businesses and individuals trying to navigate this incredibly fast-moving AI landscape?
I'd say there are a few key insights. First, don't just jump on the hype train. Real value often comes from applying AI to specific toil or friction points, not just slapping it onto every feature. Second, the agent mode paradigm is a game changer for productivity, allowing AI to act more autonomously, especially for developers and even non-programmers. Third, consider a wait-and-see approach for product integration, recognizing that users might bring their own sophisticated AI agents, and focus on making your products open to those connections.
And that leads right into the fourth point, which is about democratizing creation. AI empowers non-experts to build things they couldn't before. Even if the output isn't perfect, it's a huge leap.
And finally, don't let the fear-mongering overshadow the incredible potential. While risks are real, the speed of innovation, especially in the last few years, is unprecedented. It's a privilege to be alive at this moment, witnessing what DHH called an incredible achievement of mankind.
An incredible achievement. And it leaves me wondering, if AI continues to evolve at this pace, will our definitions of human work and human connection fundamentally change? Or will they simply become even more valued as the unique domain of people?
That's all for this episode of Tech Disruptions. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Stay curious out there.